So here we go. So thank you all for coming today. This is normally the time where we have our ASU Idea Committee meeting. But today, Burton has been kind enough to give us his time and to teach us the ins and outs of LinkedIn for those of us who are still learning or feel like there's more to learn. So we want to thank him for being here and joining us today. And Burton, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Well, thanks everybody, and good afternoon. It's afternoon where I am in Kansas City, but obviously it's not as hot. It's only 80 degrees here, but we did have a heat wave. But after talking to Robin and Valerie, it's nothing compared to what you guys are dealing with. We haven't, I don't think we've even breached the hundreds yet as far as temperature. So, but just to give you a brief background about me, I'm not well, I guess you could call me a social media expert. I do go out and talk on it, but my main focus is on technology. I own a technology services company. We do remote and on-site tech support for homes and businesses. Name of the company is Integral, like you can see on my shirt here. And basically our goal is we love technology. We've read all the manuals and we're serious about making technology fun and easy to use for everyone. So in the course of building my company, and I've been around for 28 years, I had to get adapted to social media. And LinkedIn was one of the first social media platforms that I became attracted to, just for the simple fact that you could connect with like-minded peers in order to develop relationships. And why wouldn't you be on LinkedIn? Because LinkedIn offers a lot of tools. You can reach out and touch anyone across the world, almost a nation, but across the globe. LinkedIn has added video in the past couple of years. There's two ways you can do video. You can upload your own video clips, like say your TikTok videos or videos that you've done on Facebook. And you can also record video native to LinkedIn. And the great thing about video is that it has a far reach. So you definitely want to embrace video on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. And another cool thing about LinkedIn is that you get hashtags, just like you would on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Hashtags work just like they do on any social media platform, like they do on LinkedIn. You want to bring awareness about a specific topic, you would definitely add a hashtag in to help promote that post. So there's virtually almost everything on LinkedIn as it would be on every other social media platform out there. You don't have reels yet on LinkedIn, but I'm sure that's coming. But I don't know how soon, because I just can't imagine that many business folks out dancing in order to get people attracted to their posts. But you would be surprised. There are several people that I know that actually do dance moves on their LinkedIn post and on their videos. So the sky is the limit as far as what you can do on LinkedIn. So definitely don't let that hold you back. But whenever you engage on LinkedIn, or whenever you are trying to build a reputation on LinkedIn, you always want to focus on the relationship, because social media is all about the relationships that you develop and cultivate online. I mean, the old adage, and I forget who says this, you can correct me, but yeah, it's people do business with people they know, like, and trust. I mean, you could win awards for the best of, but it's in the end, it's those relationships that you develop with people that are going to help you build your reputation and hopefully cultivate business on LinkedIn. One of the things that I have to share as far as being on LinkedIn is just the people that I encounter on LinkedIn. People just know me from everywhere because of the engagement and just the consistency of posts that I've made on LinkedIn. I've run into some potentially scary situations with people who you don't even know who they are, coming up and saying, "Hey, Burton, I follow you on LinkedIn." So it can be a good thing, because you know that you're getting noticed, but at the same time, it can be unnerving when you start getting people who you haven't even seen come up and approach you. So, but before you get started with LinkedIn, there are several key things you need to think about whenever you post on LinkedIn. And some of those things are, number one, you want to make sure that your content is engaging to your followers. So if you're just posting old boring stuff, then you're not going to get people to engage on your stuff. We're all familiar with scrolling on our phones when we're looking to pass time when we're looking on LinkedIn. But if your posts are boring, people are just going to scroll by. And one of the things you can attest to as far as the entertainment value of social media posts and LinkedIn posts is that most people, if you look at it, are getting on social media to be entertained and a little bit educated. But the entertainment factor is more than the education factor. If you see an educational video, you may or may not watch it. If you see something entertaining that's going to brighten your mood, you're definitely going to stay tuned to it. So you have to ask yourself, if you're using LinkedIn, is your content entertaining to the people that follow you? Next is, does your content inspire people? I know if you are on LinkedIn, you notice that people are posting inspirational quotes, and that's kind of a good thing because life is hard, and it is brings brightness to people's day when you're able to share inspiring quotes or stories on your LinkedIn profile. I know I get motivation from some of the stuff that people put on LinkedIn, and it obviously makes me want to gravitate to those people that are sharing the inspiring posts and the entertaining posts. So you have to ask that question: does your content inspire people? Next, does your content make people want to work with you? And if you're a sourpuss online, no one's going to want to work with you at all. If you're charming and funny and witty and just sharing information that is changing people's lives, and people are going to want to connect with you, and it can open up opportunities on LinkedIn. And then finally, does your content educate your followers? Education is key. So if you've got tidbits based on your industry that you can share with people on LinkedIn, definitely do it, because it will put you as the know, I should almost said the know-it-all, but the know-all as far as whatever your field is. Now, not to make this a boring LinkedIn presentation, I like to liven things up. So I love trivia. So we're gonna play a little game throughout this presentation called Myth or Fact. So I'm gonna throw out some tidbits out there, and then you guys get to guess if it's myth or fact. So before I share my tip, I guess I need to put on chat because not everyone's got their mics on. So whatever you think the answer is, just leave it in the chat window, and then we'll go from there. So let's get back to myth or fact. Myth or fact, LinkedIn is solely a social media network that is for job hunting. Is that a myth or is that a fact? And I'm going to stop the screen share and let's see what people are going to say. Everyone's saying myth. Myth. We've got one fact. Myth. Oh, someone changed their fact to myth. All right. So the answer is it's a myth. Years ago, when I first started, LinkedIn definitely was a job site, but not anymore. It's definitely has changed, and since Microsoft LinkedIn has purchased LinkedIn, it's definitely become an arena where people just use it for everyday use. Now, every now and then you'll see some, I almost said idiot, but some individual who will post that LinkedIn is only for job hunting, and you can just ignore those and don't even get into those arguments with the people. So with that said, let's look at our six tips to help you rock at LinkedIn. So number one would be to ignore the numbers and focus on building relationships. So I have about 15,000 followers or connections on LinkedIn, and I think my followers matches the same number. Now, that's great, but that doesn't really mean anything because of the algorithm with LinkedIn. Obviously, the more people you connect with, the more people are going to see your post. But the most important thing is that you want to focus on the quality of your contacts, not the quantity of your contacts. And it's kind of a challenge because sometimes LinkedIn, you feel like you're just speaking to an empty room, right? Who out there agrees with me? If you post something on LinkedIn, it seems like that no one is actually watching or looking at or seeing the content that you see. Is that true or is that false? You guys get a lot of engagement from LinkedIn. Only one person agrees. I know I feel like that. It feels like I'm just out here and I'm posting this stuff. I'm not getting a lot of likes, a lot of engagement. And so it's really a waste of time. But the shocking thing about LinkedIn is there are a lot of people that lurk on LinkedIn. So they sit and they scroll through a lot of the posts. They may not necessarily respond to everything. For them, LinkedIn is more entertainment, where they can see what's going on and maybe interact, maybe not interact with what's going on. But there are a ton of lurkers. Um, I, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, have run into multiple situations where I've just had the bejesus scared out of me because someone just comes and recognizes me from LinkedIn. I know just recently I was at a public place and some guy just uh, said, "Oh yeah, that's Burton Kelso. You know, I know him from LinkedIn," and I was just in earshot of that conversation. So I mean, people are watching. I mean, I'm posting LinkedIn live videos every Wednesday. I post every day, including the weekends on LinkedIn. But if you look at my engagement on a lot of my posts, maybe 5 or 10 people are actually engaging on those posts. But you are being seen uh, when you're on LinkedIn. One of the things that people may not realize about LinkedIn is the simple fact that LinkedIn's algorithm is really odd. So, for example, you may post something today, and based on what the algorithm operators deem important as far as your post, that may recirculate someone else's feed like 3 or 4 days down the road. So your content is almost always evergreen as far as LinkedIn is concerned. That they'll share it with your followers on a inconsistent basis. So it's important that you do share and be engaging when you're on LinkedIn because uh, LinkedIn, as opposed to some of the other social media platforms out there, make sure that your followers see your content. So it's important, like this photo shows, that when you are on LinkedIn, that you engage and you act like you're talking to people. I know some people will just post inspirational quotes of the day and not really talk to individuals. Now, if you engage, regardless if you're getting feedback, it's definitely going to help build your audience and your reputation on LinkedIn. So I would highly recommend that you do that. One of Another thing that you can do on LinkedIn in order to get engagement is the happy birthday greetings. By a show of chat hands, can I see how many people said happy birthday to their LinkedIn connections today? Anybody? Yes, no? I didn't. I skipped a day, but someone said no, never, nope, nope, last week. What else we got? Anybody else? Did you even know that you could do birthday greetings on LinkedIn? You definitely can. It shows up in your feed. Let me do another screen share. You move my LinkedIn window over. I'll share the screen and show you how it works. Oh, see, there's someone said I didn't even know there were birthdays on there. Yeah, let me get the right LinkedIn screen, share it, and I'll show you. So on LinkedIn, and I hope everyone can see this, if you go to notifications, and you scroll down your notifications, I hope everyone's seeing this. As you can see, there's see who's celebrating their birthdays today. Now, when you fill out your LinkedIn profile, you have the option to include your birthday information in there. And I would highly recommend that you do that. Now, you don't have to share your age, but what you're doing by sharing your birthday is giving an opportunity for people to engage and get to know you. Because there are people like myself that go, hey, let me go out and say happy birthday to my greetings. So it works in two ways as far as your birthday greetings. So the first thing, if you go to see who's celebrating, like I'm going to do now, there's a list of all the people that I haven't said happy birthday to. And actually, it's been a few days since I haven't done it. So what I would recommend doing is if you wanted to say happy birthday to somebody, you can click on say happy birthday, and you've got two options. You can use the default method of just saying happy birthday, or you can do what Burton does and liberate copyright friendly graphic off of the internet and share it as a birthday greeting. Here's one that I normally use, and let's go ahead and click on it. Ignore all those icons there because there's a bunch of junk there. So let's go to Blake, and then we're going to go send. So what that does is it connects me with Blake, and it directly sends him a happy birthday greeting. And as you can see, if I click on it, the greeting that I'm sending is life is too short to be lived counting the years. Just enjoy the ride, make awesome memories. Happy birthday. That's a good greeting to send because it's not just your generic happy birthday. And what it does is it sends Blake a greeting directly to his LinkedIn inbox to show that I joined him happy birthday. And that's going to show up under his messages, which has an alert and lets you know that someone said something to you. But also, too, a lot of it works with that LinkedIn algorithm because the more people you come in contact with, the more people it's going to show you your feed, and you're going to be able to see their feed, and you're going to be able to interact. So um, someone wrote, I have 3 people with birthdays today. I have zero idea who they are. And that's a good point. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in the presentation. It's okay if you don't know who the heck they are. What you're doing is trying to cultivate those relationships. So all these people, and let me share my screen again. As far as birthdays, I really don't have any clue who most of these people are. Obviously, I connect with them at some point on LinkedIn, but what I'm trying to do is help develop those relationships. So why not send some random stranger a happy birthday? I know Andre Furman, so I definitely can send him a happy birthday greeting. And one of the things too with birthdays, it's not something that you're going to get into every day. As you can see, the last time I contacted Andre by email was back in 2018. Well, actually, 2019, he sent me a message back saying, congratulations on your work anniversary. But the last happy birthday greeting I sent, was probably never. So probably what I need to do, since Andre has reached out to me multiple times, is to go on, find my favorite graphic, open it up, and then hit send. So that way I can help keep that relationship going with Andre and everyone else on my LinkedIn feed. So if you're looking for ways to connect with people on LinkedIn, go and send out birthday greetings on a regular basis because it definitely will help build those relationships, but it also will help that algorithm so that you're seen by more people. The next thing you want to do is kind of be a little bit funny on LinkedIn. People are so serious sometimes that it's not a bad idea to throw out the occasional crazy joke. Now, obviously, being a tech guy, try to stick with tech humor. And I know this is kind of I don't know if it's really that funny, but some people get a kick out of it. So, yeah, technically, Moses was the first person with the tablet downloading data from the cloud. So, some people may get a chuckle out of it, but it's kind of silly nonsense that you can definitely share on LinkedIn and have no shame in doing that. As I talked about earlier, another thing that you can do is share those inspirational quotes. Now, tell me if this doesn't make you inspired and make you feel better about yourself. Surround yourself with people who are only going to lift you higher. It makes you go, ah, makes you feel good, doesn't it? And it does with other people that you interact with on LinkedIn. So if you find inspirational quotes, and there's a ton of websites that have them, definitely use that content and share that with your followers in order to uplift and inspire them. Another thing that you can do is make sure that you're giving recommendations on LinkedIn. And it used to be hard, like you had to think of something nice that you were going to say to somebody, but recommendations on LinkedIn are pretty easy to give out now. And yes, you can give them out to people that you may not know. If you know their skill set or know a little bit about them, why not give out a recommendation so that you can get one in return? The way you give out recommendations, and I always forget this, so bear with me. Let me go back to screen share of my LinkedIn profile. I'm gonna go to the home page and let's see, I know Heather Monahan. So we can go and scroll down and look at Heather's activity. Let's see if I can find it. Probably gonna goof it. Oh, here we go. So skills and endorsements. It's down at the bottom of someone's profile. So I think Heather is good at digital media. So I can just click on that, and it LinkedIn makes you be a little bit honest. How good is Heather at digital media? She's pretty good because I follow her on Instagram too. And then you can select the relationship that you have with people. You can say you've heard about Heather's skills from other people, you worked with her, or even just none of the above. If you're just like, well, I'm just doing it to see if Heather will scratch my back as well. So once you submit, it will definitely allow you to send out a skill set. In return, people will see that in return. Hopefully, they'll reach out and scratch your back by giving you a recommendation as well. So keep that in mind. Good way to help build those interactions with people. Another thing that you may see on LinkedIn are LinkedIn polls. Now, polls are a pretty good way to get people interacting because everyone likes to show how much they know about stuff. So if you didn't know, now you know. LinkedIn has a poll feature just like Twitter and Facebook where you can go in and start polling people and get them to engage a little bit more with your post. As far as doing the poll, let's get back to my LinkedIn profile. Looks like I'm going to be doing this most of the day. Let me do a screen share on that. Now to do a poll, let's make sure I got my skills right. You start a post and create a poll is right there. So there's my post. I can create a poll and then I can ask a question and then there's different options and you can add more options. And the good thing about LinkedIn is that you can have a poll that will last from 1 day to up to 2 weeks. So if you're looking to get some engagement, definitely create a poll to see if people are going to interact. So one of the popular questions you can add as a poll on LinkedIn is how often do you and do a question mark, and then we can do day, once a week, spell week right, or once a month. And then once you do that, do the duration of the poll for however long, hit done, and then it'll give you a sample of what your poll is going to look like, and then you can post it, which I think I will go ahead and do that. And just type in, you can leave this blank here, or you can add in a sentence, but then just post it, and then it shows up on your LinkedIn feed. So polls are a good way to get people interacting with your LinkedIn post. And I don't want to blabber the whole time. So do we have any questions so far? Just leave in the chat window, or I don't know if you can jump in and just ask something, but yeah, just feel free to ask your questions if you've got any so far. Now, another thing that, oh, I saw a hand.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So I'm trying to sort of think about like, how would I use, how would I, what would this serve for me to engage? For you, it makes sense because you are a presence, you want people to watch your videos, you want probably people to hire your company. For me, I mean, and I guess in nonprofit in general, are we just trying to let people connect with us so then they're like, hey, tell me more about your nonprofit? Or how do you use it?
Exactly. So, Ori, that was a great question. I pronounced your name right, correct? Yes. Okay. So that's an excellent question. And what you would use it for if you're in the nonprofit sector is to get people to follow your nonprofit. So hopefully your nonprofit has a business page on LinkedIn. So if you do, that's great because you can definitely either post like you would on Facebook with a business page on LinkedIn, but also if you're part of a nonprofit, one of the ways that you can help with fundraising efforts or just overall knowledge about the nonprofit is just share things that are going on with the nonprofit. You always want to tell your story, and I think that's coming up in the slides, but you always want to engage with people and let them know what you're doing and let them know what the nonprofit is doing, because once you start tugging on those strings, then it's going to be easier for you to get people to donate to your cause as opposed to just asking. And also it's the relationship process too. The more people that you connect with, the more they can trust your nonprofit, the more they're going to become willing donors and are going to want to donate and interact with your nonprofit. And you have to think about the relationships too. I'm sure your nonprofit is probably looking for volunteers at some point. So if you're engaging with people and interact with them, then they definitely will want to engage and be a part of it. And then events, you can share events on LinkedIn. So there's all sorts of things that you can do on LinkedIn. And keep in mind too, for a nonprofit, it may be the better choice as far as social media platforms because you have a ton of business professionals that are on LinkedIn rather than just regular folks that would be on, say, Facebook and Instagram. So more, I hate to say it, more of your money audience is probably going to be on LinkedIn than, say, trying to engage with folks on TikTok or Instagram. So I hope that answers your question. Any other questions before I move on? Yes, Anton, right? So
Anton.
yeah, go ahead and go ahead, yes.
Anton, thank you, Burton.
Anton, sorry, go ahead.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I dig the Ghostbuster mobile that you got right behind your shoulder there. Watch out. Don't have me come to your office. And if it's missing, you know who to talk to about that. But
Right.
so I'd like to, like, the sensation I'm really getting is that starting up conversations with people that may be outside your daily network is really like focused on something that's celebratory, right? Like you talked about, like a birthday, maybe like the anniversary date of their new position, or anything that seems celebratory is like, hey, this is a great way to engage this person in conversation. In addition to that, I think one of the biggest challenges sometimes is that the kind of conversations that we want to initiate with people that we may not work with on a regular basis is if it's equity based, right? Like if it's a conversation that can be a difficult one to have in an organization, or a difficult one to have in a certain community of people. And so in terms of realizing somebody's got that work that they're doing well out in the community, you want to engage them in a conversation. Maybe the celebratory tone isn't the best way to approach them, but what would you say that you have seen is effective in terms of how you can either start conversations with people generally so that people know like you're approachable in that way, or if you see someone who is, sharing something, like maybe Ori shares something from Robin, and I'm like, yo, it looks like Robin's into that equity work too. I don't know who Robin is, but I know who Ori is. So I'm like, I'm gonna reach out to Robin and be like, hey, I read the post that, that Ori shared, that kind of thing. Like, what have you seen is effective in that way?
Well, there's multiple things that will work, and I'm going to jump to my next slide, because one of the things that definitely draws attention to people and brings up the connection is the ability to tag people in a post. So if you are looking to get noticed or to get introduced to somebody, definitely commenting on their post is a good thing. But also, if you tag them in the post that you comment, will definitely bring some common ground as far as as far as interacting with people. I know a lot of unknown folks that I saw a post of theirs that I liked on LinkedIn that I've commented on, and I may have gotten some feedback. But if you tag that person in a post and then tell them that that you enjoyed their post or that you want to get to know them, it's going to help bring that interaction. And as far as getting you connected, it's going to work a lot better if you tag them and just be complimentary as far as letting them know that you like their post or you like their LinkedIn profile. I know there's a guy by the name of, I forget Nick's last name, but he's called the Brandpreneur, but he's heavily involved on LinkedIn. And one of the things that he'll do is he'll showcase an entrepreneur or just a regular person on LinkedIn just for the heck of it. It helps build his brand, but it also helps build the brand of the person, or highlights the company of the person that he's highlighting. And what I'll do with Nick is that I'll go through and see whoever he highlights, and then I'll send them a message and just let them know that I saw their post with Nick's Brandpreneur, and most times they'll friend me on that. So just to kind of give you an idea, let me show you Nick's or LinkedIn page, and I hope that somewhat answered your question. But there's Nick's. I hope you can see that. He's the Brandpreneur. But yeah, he's a marketing executive, but he'll highlight people. Like if you go to activity and go to see all activity and then go to post, and if you scour through his post, you can see that different people that he's highlighted. So there's Nick bragging on himself, and there's an example of some videos. There's another video trying to get to where he's highlighted somebody. I may have to scroll on his post a little bit further. There's Nick getting married. There we go. Here's an example of it. So there's Roxanne Romulus. I guess her name's right. But he actually posted a video. So if I wanted to connect with Roxanne, if I click on see more, there's her LinkedIn profile. So then I would either just click on connect with her, which I want to caution everyone not to do. What you want to do, especially on the desktop, is go to more. It's not going to let me do it. Some people will actually, on the app, you would have to go more. On the desktop, you can click on connect, but what you want to do is you want to add a note. So I would say, hey, Roxanne, and you can't tag in messages as far as I know. Just say, saw your post on Nick's wall, let's connect. Or you can put as much as you want to, up to 300 words on LinkedIn. So I'm going to send that connection request, and hopefully Roxanne will write back. But that would be a good way to get introduced to people on LinkedIn. So Anton, did that answer your question? I hope. Okay, he said yes. So I don't know, but this works for me. LinkedIn allows you to do blog posts. So if you want to post a blog or an article or just share a little tidbit, you definitely can on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I'm going back to my LinkedIn profile. Let's move it back over here and go to screen share. If I wanted to post a blog, I can just click on the home screen. And then as you can see, I can post photos, videos, and events, or I can write an article. And then if I write an article and click me, then it lets me put a photo, a headline, and write an article. So if your business or you have any articles you want to share on LinkedIn, you definitely can share those with anybody on the network. So something to keep in mind if you want to get more engagement. So number 2 is when you're setting up LinkedIn, you want to use your profile to tell a story. So what does that mean? Well, that's a horrible example, but this kind of gives you an idea of what I want you to see. What I really want you to see is going to my actual LinkedIn profile, because what was on the screen before is kind of dated. So give me a second here and let me find my LinkedIn profile and I'll show what is going to help you get more engagement on your LinkedIn profile. So if I screen share and go to share, this is what I'm talking about. So obviously I labeled myself the technology expert. Somehow the made it out of there. But anyway, my profile is telling the story. I'm an entrepreneur, TV personality, cybersecurity technology, and keynote speaker. And then I've got my little cute sentence. I love technology. I've read all the manuals and I'm serious about making technology fun and easy to use. I can add my contact information on there. See, there's your birthday, email, phone numbers, all that information you can add in, but got a nice professional photograph there. As you can see from Nick's profile, you can actually add video in this spot now to add a little bit more engagement. But the whole goal with your LinkedIn profile is to tell a story of who you are and what you want so that people will feel more comfortable engaging with you. If you scroll down in the About section, I give a little bit more details about what I've done. I can add a media reel. I can add videos to my LinkedIn profile. So if you've got any video like on YouTube or anything, you can definitely add it into this featured section. And you can add, let me click on the plus sign. You can add articles that you were featured in, links to different web content, different media, and you can do just different posts that highlight you in LinkedIn. But again, it's telling the story of who you are and what you're doing. So if you are working for a company, you can definitely put the company's information in there and everything that you've done, just to give people a little bit more background about you. Recommendations will show up in this area, things that you're interested in. Believe it or not, people look at this this information when they're deciding if they want to connect with you or not. If you have a blank LinkedIn profile, then people aren't going to connect with you at all. But if the more information that you put in your LinkedIn profile, the more people are going to connect with you, and it's going to help build relationships with people. So if you've got, even if you've got an empty banner, you want to put some photograph up there. And when I say banner, let me get back to LinkedIn. Banner is this section at the top here. You can edit that and add any photo in this section to kind of highlight it and just make your page pop. And that's what you want to do in order to help build those relationships. Is to build a LinkedIn profile that definitely pops and gets people attracted to you. Another thing, and Anton talked about this, was different achievements that you have on LinkedIn. Now these work in two ways. Number one, you're bragging about yourself and what you achieved. But the good thing about achievements and about work anniversaries is that they show up in your LinkedIn profile to like everyone that is involved in your network. So like your birthday post is going to go out to all of your followers, and sometimes the LinkedIn algorithm doesn't allow that. Whatever achievements that you've done will definitely go out on the anniversary of whatever achievement or whatever work anniversary you have. So definitely put those up there. And if you start a regular job, you want to add that to your achievements, because every year it'll say you've been at your job. If you've added a new job, that definitely will go out to your network. If you added a new hobby, any of that stuff will go out to all of the followers on your networks, and you'll get a lot more engagement with that as opposed to just your standard posts. what another thing that people don't feel comfortable with, but I think that you should, is your photos of your family on LinkedIn. Some people think this is more of a Facebook thing as far as sharing family photos and other fun stuff that you've done. But again, it's building that relationship with the people that you connect with on LinkedIn. Just to kind of give you a brief summary of this one, there's Mr. and Mrs. Claus, obviously, myself, my wife, and my two boys, Christian and Caleb, that I can't remember if I shared that on LinkedIn. I must have at some point, but definitely any family photos, anything that's going to help people become more engaged with you is stuff that you want to do on LinkedIn. So any questions so far as like your LinkedIn profile engagement or anything like that? If not, let's go on to the next slide, which is tip number 3, which is take those offline connections online. One of the things that people fail at social media is the fact that they collect a ton of business cards, but they don't do anything with them. And I don't know if this is you, and I hate to admit it, this is me. I don't have them on my desk right now. They're connected they're collected someplace else, but I'm sometimes guilty as far as collecting business cards with people that I meet face to face, and I don't do anything with them. Don't add them to a database or anything, and they just sit there and rot. But one of the things you can do with all those business cards is that I guarantee 99% of the people with business cards that you've collected, they're on LinkedIn. So why not connect with them on LinkedIn? Because one of the advantages of that is that if you enter, say, an email in a database, that person's going to change jobs, they're going to switch email. But with LinkedIn, when you connect with somebody, you're connected forever, because whenever they make a job change, a career change, a name change, anything, they're going to post it on their LinkedIn profile. So take those offline connections and connect with those people on LinkedIn. I've been surprised at the people that have a LinkedIn profile, and sometimes it's helped them become a little bit more engaged. Other times it's just good because you can kind of keep track and find out where they're going, and you can always stay connected to those people. One of the other things that you can do with LinkedIn if you're doing face-to-face meetings is LinkedIn uses QR codes. So the good thing about QR codes on LinkedIn is that if you're trying to connect with someone face-to-face, you don't necessarily have to look up their name on LinkedIn. Because I know when you're on LinkedIn and or if you're on LinkedIn and you're trying to meet someone in public, it can be a challenge to do like I'm doing, trying to find the LinkedIn app, and then you can search that person's name, and then you got to find the right spelling. But with LinkedIn codes, you can definitely take away of that and connect with people with the QR code. And to kind of show you proof, I don't know if this will show up well on my camera, but there's my LinkedIn code. Now to get there, if you've got a smartphone, all you need to do is go to the search section on LinkedIn, which is there at the top. I guess I've got an app that can share my smartphone, but this is kind of better now. But anyways, you can see up at the top, there is a section where there's a QR code. So if you click on that section, then it'll definitely bring up the QR code where you can just connect with someone by just using your smartphone's camera in LinkedIn in order to do it. So on the LinkedIn app, there's 2 sections. So one section says My Code, which is what you're looking at right now. The other section is Scan, which if you click on it, you get a reflection of my wall, but actually that your camera scanning someone's LinkedIn QR code so that you can connect with them. So this is a good way if you're interacting with people face to face to connect with them on LinkedIn. I know several people that forego the business cards and they just use LinkedIn QR codes to connect with people. So another thing that you can do, and there's really no slide for this. LinkedIn has a feature called Find Nearby. So if you're not on your smartphone, if you open up LinkedIn, you can go to, I think it's My Network. They keep changing this feature, but anyway, there's a feature that allows you to scan using Bluetooth, where you can connect with everyone who has Find Nearby turned on LinkedIn. So at the very least, use QR codes if you want to connect with people on LinkedIn. But there is a feature called Find Nearby. It looks like they changed it again. Yeah. Let me see if I can add contacts. Nope, there's importing contacts. But yeah, there is a feature called Find Nearby where you can find nearby connections using Bluetooth and LinkedIn. So if you're curious to know how to do that, Burton's going to have to cheat at some point and get on Google to look it up because they've definitely changed the app. But you can do it. And finally, when it comes to connections on LinkedIn, there's nothing wrong with connecting with strangers. So if someone sends you a request, you can check out their LinkedIn profile, obviously, to make sure that they're legitimate. But yeah, I mean, if there's someone you don't know and they want to connect with you, sometimes you may get the spam post, but you can look at a LinkedIn profile and tell if they're a spammer or not. Other people, it's not as obvious, but I would connect because at the very least, you can always block somebody if you don't want to connect with them. So it's myth or fact time, because you know Burton loves trivia. So myth or fact, LinkedIn was one of the first social media platforms. Is that a myth or is that a fact? Okay, we got two answers. We got one fact and one myth. Anyone else cleared or claim to myth, fact, fact, fact? All right, and so the answer is it's a fact. LinkedIn is older than Facebook and Twitter and obviously TikTok and Instagram. It's it may even date MySpace, but it's a pretty old social media network and it's been out there for quite a while. Oh, so tip number 4, as far as LinkedIn tips, is don't forget to follow people on other social media platforms. And it works two ways. Social media, obviously everyone's on, and if they're on LinkedIn, that means they're on other platforms too. So to help you engage with people a little bit more, you have a Facebook or an Instagram account, or even a Twitter account. Whoever you connect with on LinkedIn, make sure that you find them on other social media platforms. It helps beat that LinkedIn algorithm that I've been talking about, which basically means that LinkedIn is only showing you a portion of the people that you're connected to wall or post. But if you connect with them on other social media platforms, it increases your chance of helping build and develop those relationships, because people may not see your post on LinkedIn, but they're definitely seeing you on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or even on YouTube. So seek people out on other social media platforms because it will help build that relationship. You may not see their post on LinkedIn because of the algorithm, but good chances are that they may see your post on any of, like on YouTube or Twitter or any other platform out there. It just helps build that relationship when people see you post more online. I know there are people that are misunderstand that they may have seen me on LinkedIn, but at the same time, it's probably the same post going out on Facebook or on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. So follow them and post them, because usually if people connect with you, they want to see what's going on with you. So it doesn't hurt to follow them on other social media platforms. So tip number 5 is to use videos, basically. Videos get more engagement, so start using them. And video now, these days, most people think that they have to put on some grand production when it comes to videos online. And I'm sure you've seen the videos on TikTok, or you're like me, you get online and or get on YouTube and watch epic fails or some of those other goofy channels online. But videos work. They just definitely make people feel like they're a little bit closer to you. I mean, pictures are good, quotes are good, but video definitely is king. And one of the things about video is that it gets seen or shown more because of the LinkedIn algorithm than just say your standard text or photo post. And video doesn't have to really be that complicated. It could just be you making a quick video of how annoyed you are at a situation that you're dealing with, or just a quick message about anything informative, or just asking people how their day is. I mean, it just doesn't really have to be complicated. And if you're inclined to, you definitely can dance your way on LinkedIn, like some of my connections are. I mean, you don't have to, but like I said, there's a lot of connections that I'm engaged with that dance. And I'm trying to think of one right now that dances, just to kind of give you an idea, but I won't do that. I won't torture you with that. But yeah, the sky's the limit as far as video. You can use your smartphone, you can go out and buy the fancy equipment to do video, but video definitely gets more engagement. So if you're trying to get a message across, definitely do it. Looks like Anton, you got a message. You were you raising your hand or just stretching? You stretching? Doing this?
Oh, no, I was putting something away. But
Oh, okay.
you said dancing, and that always makes me happy. So I'm down for some movement.
Nothing wrong with it. Well, one of the other things that you might want to get interested in is LinkedIn Live. Now, LinkedIn Live is almost like the holy grail as far as LinkedIn is concerned. So is LinkedIn newsletter. But LinkedIn Live, which I happen to have, allows you to live stream video, which hopefully you all know goes out to a wider audience than say your other posts. And LinkedIn Live I think LinkedIn's up to, let's just say 500 million users. I think there's probably only 5,000 people that have access to LinkedIn Live, and you have to apply to get granted or get your account granted to LinkedIn Live. It's not something that you just hit a button on like you would with Facebook or Twitter or even Instagram. You have to apply to it, and LinkedIn has to grant your account to go live. I think, and the challenge is with LinkedIn Live, you can't, even if you get it, you just can't click on a button and do LinkedIn Live. You have to either use SoundCloud or you have to use OBS Studio in order to get your videos to show up on LinkedIn Live. But if you're willing to get it, it definitely would be a boost to your LinkedIn profile if you apply to LinkedIn Live and try to get it. So our final tip for stuff is for LinkedIn stuff is to make sure you learn to post effectively or post to LinkedIn effectively. What the heck does that mean? Well, it used to be you didn't post on LinkedIn on the weekend, but the one thing that you have to understand with LinkedIn is that you've got that algorithm that's definitely limiting the exposure of your post unless people seem or deem it important for it to be shared by other people. So if you're sharing timely tips on LinkedIn or just timely information, there are people that actually monitor all of the LinkedIn accounts to see what posts should get elevated and which ones to get suppressed. So if you're sharing something that's timely, like a quote or any information, it's definitely going to get bumped up as far as the LinkedIn algorithm is concerned, as opposed to other posts. When you're posting on LinkedIn, you want to be careful not to share web links because LinkedIn wants you to stay within LinkedIn. So if you're directing people to go to YouTube or to go to other websites, then your posts are definitely going to be suppressed and no one's going to see them. So if you're sharing video on LinkedIn for some reason, I shouldn't say for some reason, but let's just say you choose to, don't share a YouTube link or any other website link to share the video. Make sure that you can get the raw video and upload that video to LinkedIn. Now, the other challenging thing about LinkedIn as far as sharing video is that LinkedIn will only take about 10 minutes of video. So if your video is like 10 minutes and 1 second long, LinkedIn won't upload it. Now, if it's LinkedIn Live, you could be on for an hour doing video, but just standard video, 10 minutes is the limit that they'll do. And anyway, who's going to watch a 10-minute video anyway? So make sure that your video clips are short, sweet, and to the point, and it'll help boost that algorithm. Same with any articles too. If you have to share from a web source, you just might want to say that you have an interesting article that you want to share with people. And then in the comments section, like you would on Facebook or Instagram, in order to help you get your post up, you would put the link to the URL in the comment section so that people can actually click on the comment or click on that link in the comment section in order to get to the website. But you have to be leery of that LinkedIn algorithm because it definitely will suppress some of your posts. Also, in order to, as far as posting effectively, it's a good idea to get on LinkedIn and engage with people on a regular basis. It helps defeat that algorithm. If you're just going through and just liking or giving a heart to post on LinkedIn, that's not going to do it. You're going to have to actually engage with people and comment on their posts. Doesn't matter if you say good job or just tag somebody and say hello. Those are the types of engagement that LinkedIn looks for in order to help you build those connections and to stay connected with more people. And the other thing, as far as posting wisely, there are two times that people really check their LinkedIn accounts. One is before the workday, like early in the morning. And then finally, anytime after lunchtime is a good time to get on LinkedIn, because by then people are tired of their day, they're bored at work, they're going to get on LinkedIn and they're going to start looking at stuff. So if anything you remember from this Zoom meeting, get on, if you're going to post to LinkedIn, make sure it's in the afternoon. So that way people can see your post and you'll be posting it at key times. It used to be that LinkedIn wasn't even used on the weekends, because as Robin posted, is LinkedIn live only for businesses? And quickly answer her question, no, it's to anybody that can prove that they are sharing video content elsewhere, or they just may be benevolent, and just because you applied, they may grant it to you. So it's for anybody. It doesn't have to be for businesses. But anyway, yeah, the thing is that even on the weekends, no one was on LinkedIn, but now people are getting on LinkedIn on Friday and Saturdays and Sundays even, to post content on LinkedIn. So it has definitely evolved from what it used to be 10, 12 years ago to just being an everyday social media platform that you can use almost like you can Facebook or Instagram or even Twitter. Remember, LinkedIn is a marathon. So if you post on a fairly infrequent basis, you're not going to see any impact. If you're posting on a fairly standard basis, like at least no less than every 3 days, then you're going to see some benefits from using LinkedIn and getting connected with people. So I've got one more myth or fact, and probably everyone knows this one. So yeah, myth or fact, last one for the day. You have to purchase the paid version of LinkedIn in order to see the full benefits. Is this a myth or is this a fact? I'm loving the comments on here. Obviously, there's like only one comment. Everyone's saying fact. Guys, that's a myth. It really is. You do not have to pay to use LinkedIn. Now, Sophia did say, well, Sophia said something, but I thought it was not what I wanted to say. So if you pay LinkedIn, you can reach out to more strangers through paid LinkedIn than you could if you had the free version. With the free version, you're limited to how many people you can connect with on a regular basis. I think if you send out requests, you're only limited to how many requests if you have the paid version, the free version. But then Ori is saying, but you can't see everyone who looks at your profile unless you get the pro version. That's true, Ori. I wasn't thinking about the whole lurking aspect of it, but yes, if you do have the paid version of LinkedIn, you can definitely see everyone who peeps out your LinkedIn profile. But at its core, if you're just using LinkedIn to connect with people and build relationships, you don't need to go out and pay for it, unless you're Ori and you want to see who's keeping your LinkedIn profile. So, So any questions? We're at the end of our presentation. I will say this before you ask. Don't focus on the numbers, as far as wrapping things up with this presentation. Please do not focus on the numbers. The one thing that you do want to do, speaking of numbers with your LinkedIn profile, is that you want to get to the 500 club. And I'll show you what I'm talking about if I can get to my main LinkedIn deal. Here it is. So share my LinkedIn profile. See right here where it says 500 plus connections. If I click here, it's going to show everyone I'm connected to. But what you want is at least the 500 plus club, because with LinkedIn, that's kind of the universal message of saying that you are actively on the network and that you're not some spammer. So if you're wanting people to connect with you, you definitely want to join the 500 plus club. And if you had any questions on how to get those connections, it's pretty darn simple. Let me scroll and look at my activity and see if I can find someone I want to connect with. And it looks like I'm following everybody. Goodness gracious. That's not going to work. But if you see someone you want to connect with on LinkedIn, here. Barbara Cochran just popped up. So let's say I wanted to connect with Barbara Cochran, Shark Tank Barbara Cochran. I would click on her profile. You guys, I'm going to tell you, it's like virtually impossible. But then what I would do is go to more. Well, actually, I could message her. And unfortunately, Barbara wants you to have her email before if you message her. But if I did have Barbara's email, then I could write her a message. Hi, Barbara. We don't know each other. I'm just sucking and typing today. Or you could add a variety of that message by saying you're building up your connections on LinkedIn. Whatever. The whole idea is that you want to personalize your messages when you connect with people on LinkedIn. Obviously, any celebrity that's got the "in" next to the name, you may not be able to get a hold of. But anyone else, if you reach out and you just like their profile, just connect with them and help build that relationship. So, Ori wrote on there, her comments are killing me today. Yes, that's a lot of connections, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it helps with the algorithm, the more connections you have on LinkedIn. But I mean, I still have to focus on building those relationships on a daily basis. So you can imagine at almost 16,000 connections that saying happy birthday some days just gets tiring because there's just a ton of people that you have to say happy birthday to. But it's worth it because, you know, you definitely can build some relationships here. Now, we'll show you one celebrity that connected with me on LinkedIn. This is a shocker, and I'll show how this works. So if I do a screen share, and then I open it up to questions, there's Gretchen Carlson, and guess what? She's a first connection, and I connected, and this is what I was talking about, connect with people on other social media platforms. I connected with Gretchen Carlson on Twitter, of all things. She just followed me when she was in Iceland, like about 4 years ago. And so I just connected with her on LinkedIn and Facebook and other social media platforms too. And I'm trying to find, here it is, my message, where it says we're connected on all of the other social media channels. We probably should connect here as well. So keep in mind. So anyway, any questions? I see Patricia has to leave.
Burton, thank you so much. I mean, truly, you have been such a great person to have on board today and give us these tips. And I just want to say this is a perfect example of using LinkedIn in all the ways that Burton talked about, because I didn't know Burton before, what, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when I reached out to you. And so I did unknowingly everything that Burton just told us to do, and it worked. So thank you so much, Burton.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure. Yes.
Appreciate it. Any other questions so that we can honor Burton's time before we end the meeting?
Thank you so much. This was really, really helpful.
Yeah, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or all of the other social media platforms out there. If you've got questions that you were just too embarrassed to ask, you can definitely find me on, I was trying to share my screen, but I went to the wrong one. But anyway, yeah, I'm on all the social media platforms. So just look up Burton Kelso and you'll definitely find me.
I know. Thank you, Burton.
No problem.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
And thank you so much for putting this together. And Burton, thank you for sharing your time with us. This was wonderful.
No problem. Ori, does that mean you're going to get the paid version of LinkedIn so that you can peek on people?
But I already sent you a connection and a message.
Oh, okay.
I'm a very good student. I sit in the front row.
Oh, okay. Good deal. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Val, for leading us as well.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks,
Bye, all.
Val.
Good to see you.
Bye.